Hi, and welcome to It's the Hard Work People, Passion, and Purpose podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Terry Ross. This podcast is about people finding their purpose and walking into their passion. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about pivoting. We're going to talk about what do you do when you have to start over and you're having to look for a new job or a new career. And I have with us today Mr. Karter Richardson. And Mr. Karter Richardson is a student success advisor with a university. And today he's going to talk with us about how do you start over? How do you choose majors? What are the things that you should consider? But right now, we just like Mr. Richardson to introduce himself to us and tell us how did he get to where he is now and being a student success coach and advisor.
Thank you, Dr. Ross, for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Karter Richardson. Just a little bit of how I got here. I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I currently reside in Dallas, Texas. I graduated from the Alabama A&M University, which resides in Normal, Alabama. I also have a graduate studies degree from Harvard University in education. For the past 21 years, I've been a school teacher, so that's all I know is education, teaching, helping young people. Just a few weeks ago, I transitioned into a student success coach on the university level. I just felt it was time to change and kind of help students on a different end, a different aspect of helping them with their life. So this is how I got to where I am today.
Well, thank you. And I think that's just a perfect promotion from teaching to now seeing those students as adults and moving up. But also, I didn't know that you were from Birmingham. I started teaching in Birmingham at A.H. Parker High School.
Okay, I know about it also. Well, my son actually graduated from Parkland.
Oh, awesome, 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 awesome. Yeah, those are some great years for me in Birmingham. I enjoyed my time in Birmingham. So, being a student success advisor, do you encounter a lot of adults who are deciding that they're having to start over or not deciding they're being forced to start over because their jobs are maybe moving or just leaving?
So yes, I encounter mostly adults. We're not a traditional public school. We're more in the private sector. We have about 35,000 students, majority of which are adults or learners, meaning they're coming for the first time or they're coming back after a long break. Um, so most of them are coming back because life has happened, and things in their lives have changed. So now they're deciding to go to school to kind of like boost themselves or help themselves kind of like push in a new direction because life has changed for them drastically and in several different ways, whether it was a loss of a family member, loss of a job, having to scale back from a job, single parents who have raised their kids now, they want to find another purpose in life because they've done what they're supposed to do. So we have a lot of different variety of reasons why these adults are now returning or coming to school for the first time.
So going back to school or going to get a certification, that's a huge investment. What
It
would the
is.
first thing that you would suggest to adults, and especially adults who are in life? I'm not talking about the 18-year-old that's leaving high
Mhm.
school. I'm talking about the 25, 30, 35, 40, 45-year-old. What's the first thing that you would suggest that they do or consider before looking for to start a new career in terms of going to school or getting a certification? What should they consider first?
First thing I would definitely encourage you to do is ask yourself, what could I do every day when I wake up and be happy about it? Or what is something I can do every day and it gives me fulfillment, even if I didn't get paid to do it? And if you can name that thing that you can do every day without getting paid, or that thing that makes you the happiest, start there, and then look into different schools who may have uh, that particular concentration area that you're interested in. Uh, then also decide if it's something you want to do online, if it's something you want to do where I go into class and be in front of a professor, because we do have, they do have online classes and they do have in-person classes. And it may be your schedule might not allow you to go, hey, I need to be in class from 9 to 10 or 6 to whatever, but online might be better for you. Actually, making sure that school has that option if it's needed. Um, where I am personally, we're all online.
Okay.
So like your assignments are put out on Mondays and they're due the following Sunday. So it's very much flexible for that working person or for that person who needs a lot of flexibilities. But to go back to the original, just ask yourself what is something that you could do every day that would make you happy and something that you can do every day, even if you didn't get paid for it.
Well, I think that's very profound and that's very just very deep advice that you've just offered. So for people who say, well, I don't know what I like, I don't
Mhm.
know what'll make me smile every day, where can they start? Because for me, I've never really felt like I've worked a day in my life because I'm in education. Yes, it gets tiring. I've been a middle, high school, and elementary school principal. I've taught at the high school level. Um, and I know that, they're very challenging days, but for me, I enjoy what I do so much that I've never felt like I've worked a day in my life because it's what I
Mhm.
do. For people who may not have found that passion or that joy, what would you say they would do to find that? Are there inventories out there? Are there places that they can start looking?
Now that's a good question. Because like you said, there are a lot of people who really just don't know what I like or what I want to do. Um, Me, I would just make a list of things I just like, period. Like,
Yes.
even if it's I'm going to the park, like just start with a list of things that you like or you like to do, or things that you wish you could do that you probably think you don't have the opportunities to do. And from that kind of put something together and then reach out to a school such as ours. I'm not going to put ours out there because we're going to tell some stories, but I would reach out and see, talk to an admissions officer or talk to well, they would talk to an admissions officer first before they come to me. So by the time they come to me, they've kind of gotten what they really want to do. So
Okay.
speaking to an admissions officer to kind of go over different programs because it's kind of like this program may fit into what you like, and now, oh, this is what I want to major in. So they might not know exactly what, but it's really speaking with some school who can kind of like go over those different programs that we offer or that they offer and figuring out what best matches the student. Because I know for us, our admissions officers get to know the students personally before we go into anything academically. And that kind of like guides to where the conversation, where it's going to go. Because for instance, we've had some call in and it was like, oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And then after we get to talking and find out what they like, it's like, oh, well, this would probably be a better fit for what it is that you're really wanting to do. But it's just really having that conversation with somebody and just really talking to you as a person, getting to know you as a person to kind of like guide you where you want to be. And I I will say this actually happened like the other week. So a guy called in, he wanted to get a degree, so the admission officer was asking him, like, well, what you wanted to get a degree in, what is that, what you're interested in? He was like, I really don't know. He said, I just opened up a strip club and I just want a degree to hang on my wall. It didn't matter what it was in. So you get people like that. So it's kind of like, okay, so you own a business. So that's entrepreneurship. We have a degree where you can get in business entrepreneurship. He
Yeah.
was like, okay, whatever. I just want something to hang on my wall. It's crazy. So he was like, you get people like that, but then you get the people like, I don't have a clue what I want to do.
So
So
I
now
like
it's
that you started out by saying, write down what it is you like to do, or write down what it is that you wish you could do and you don't think that you can do it. Because writing it down really does make it plain for you. And also, when we write things down, sometimes it just happens because we
and you can
wrote it
answer your
down.
own question.
And I like that you said, even if it's just walking, going to the park. Well, while you're sitting in the park, there are a number of things that you can look around to see what could I do out here. It's a whole major in recreation.
Mm-hmm.
A park is all about landscaping and horticulture and botany and all of that. A
Urban
park is
planning.
about entrepreneurship because you have
Mm-hmm.
usually food trucks or carts or something going on. So you're exactly right. Beginning to, when you're getting ready to pivot, or if you don't know what you want to do, looking at those things that you enjoy doing and finding out what can I do around this that would make me happy every day.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a saying that I've heard people say that sometimes you have to do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do.
Yes. Oh
And
yeah.
so some that part about going to school and making that sacrifice to get a new certification, because I don't want people to think that this podcast today is all about going back to college. It's
Hmm.
about finding your passion. It's about how do you start and where do you start, because you may not want to go to college, but you may need to go and get a certification in something from somewhere, and there are a number of
Yes.
certifications out there. So what should they consider when they start thinking about going back to college, because it is a sacrifice. You mentioned, one of the things you mentioned, do I want to go online or do I want to go brick and mortar? So what are some other things that they should consider if they're thinking, as they're having to start over, thinking about starting over?
One thing to definitely think about is time management. Especially if you are a single parent, whether you're a single mother or father, whether you do have a spouse and you're working a full-time job and you have a family. It's all about that time management. So, for instance, if you're married or single with children, have a full-time job, so, parenting is a full-time job anyway, and you're doing that, you might not a brick and mortar might not be the best fit because you have to be there during certain days, certain times. Um, then on the other hand, where how our school is set up, where you receive your assignment on Monday, you have a full 7 days. You have until 11:59 Eastern time every week to do your assignment. So for someone like that, it may be easy because they don't have that extra stress of, oh, I got to be on Zoom or I have to be on this class logged in at 9 o'clock. Oh, I got to turn this in every day. No, you have a whole week to do the assignment for that class for that week. And so just kind of like, so it's just a matter of prioritizing your time. Then on the flip side to that, you have some who the online option like we offer is good for your schedule, but as a person, you need a brick and mortar because of your learning style. So that's another hiccup and glitch. So it's either do I transition myself to become this online only person, because a lot of people don't have the discipline to do online. Because I know if you tell me I got a week, I'm probably gonna wait till the last minute personally to get it done. I'm be like, oh, I might look Monday, I'm like, oh, it's not due to Sunday night. So I'm like, oh, okay, I got time. And then life happens and things get involved, and you looking like the last minute trying to rush and get it done. And so it's a lot. But the first thing I would say think about is time management. Like, how is this going to really work, and what are my personal needs to make me more successful? Because some people need to sit in front of a teacher's face.
Yes, yes. And some people, and the commitment that it takes. So
Yes.
time management is you're exactly right. And and it can be a bit frightening in the beginning to think about as an adult. I have children, I have a job, you may have aging parents that you're supporting, and then you're also talking about going back to school to pivot. So I want to talk about some of the certifications that's out there. Like, we know that they have certifications out there through Microsoft. We know that there are certifications out there through Google and Apple and different online platforms. You can go on Coursera and take classes. There are
Mhm.
so many platforms out there that adults can go to and take classes. What would you suggest adults do if they're forced in a situation that they're having to start over because there are layoffs or their job is leaving? How would they start their search for programs and classes of that such?
Mm. Interesting you say that enough, because also on the flip side, being that I was in education for so long, and in my beginnings, I was always just that, we was forced in college and career ready, making
Yeah,
kids sure they're ready for college. All these things where we're introducing them to different colleges and things of that nature. But they're traditional, we're doing traditional 4-year colleges where you go off to school, stay in a dorm, things of that nature. But what I have found in recent years, or really not found, but really came more uh, in tune with, were being successful and going to school, but not traditional 4-year schools.
yes,
Like you mentioned, you have these certifications because there are a lot of jobs that are very prominent jobs, very respected jobs that pay well, but you don't have to go to a traditional 4-year school to do so. So you're not sitting there taking all these math, sciences, things of that nature. You're going specifically to get trained and get those skills needed for that particular job. So a person really should kind of make up in their mind, like, what exactly do I really want to do? How do I want to do this? Do I want to do a traditional 4 year, whether it's online or brick and mortar? Do I just want to go get a certification and then go do this job here? Do I want to go to a trade school or vocational school? Do I want to go to a junior college? Uh, all different types. And the thing is, over the years, we haven't really celebrated those type of institutions. It's kind of looked down upon. It's kind of looked less than, but some of those turn out to be better and more than traditional 4 year schools. And I know that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day.
No, it's not. It's
Um,
not a conversation for another day. It's definitely for
it's
today
for the day.
because see, no, they can't send someone to fix my pipes. They can't
Mm-hmm.
send anyone to fix my electrical outlet or
Yes.
to paint my house or to replace the wood. They can't send anyone to do my IT work that has to be done in my home. So those are all areas that I really want people to look at. I have friends that are driving trucks they've gotten their CDLs and they're making six figures.
Mm-hmm.
They own a truck and they are driving, and then their spouses or their significant others are getting into the dispatching piece. So
Mm-hmm.
they are really vertically aligning the business, and they're doing better than people who are paying off $80,000 and $100,000 worth of student loans. So I
Absolutely.
tip my hat to the people that's gone to HVAC,
Mm-hmm.
plumbing, carpentry, whatever version of IT or graphic design, the 2 year degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
we
And like
and
I
I
said,
thank you for elevating the fact that we have celebrated 4 year colleges so long,
mm-hmm.
and really now the 4 year college is almost a money trap because it's so expensive. And I hate to say it, but if you're going to major in something that's not going to give you dividends right away, if you're majoring in a social service field, like I'm an education major.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to major in education, but I'm going to a private institution that I'm making $120,000 worth of student loans before I leave. No teachers are graduating making enough money to really pay off $120,000 worth of student loans.
Exactly.
And I love teachers and I
Exactly.
respect teachers. I'm a teacher. Most of my family members are teachers. So we have to know that if we're going to make this investment, we need to think about the back end. Are we going to be able to live once we've made the financial investment into going into our new careers?
Ex- ex- Exactly. Like I said, I was one of those go hard 4 year schools, but that's just because I didn't know any better growing up either. And like you said, we kind of, as a society, downplay those people. But it's kind of like you never not need a plumber, you never not need an electrician, you never not need HVAC, you never not need, even as far as like funeral homes. Like I even
Yes.
had the conversation with my students about you just can't go, oh, I want to go apply and work for a funeral home. Like they even have their a funeral home school designed just for that because there are certain things you need to know. There's a lot of chemicals you have to work with depending on what you're doing. There's a lot involved in that. Even now, when I was growing up, it was, I don't think it was as prevalent of going to school to be a hairdresser or a barber, but you had barber schools. Now you have to have that license and have to
They've
have that.
always
So you
look,
have
they've always had them. Most of the folk we know just did them in the kitchen, but that's okay.
right, you know, that's what I know. But now, like, you have to have a license, you have to have that training, so
Yes,
you have to go to cosmetology school. Like barbers, they
absolutely.
have to go to school and they have to get a license as well. It is not a traditional 4 year. They don't have to go for 2, 3, 4 years to get it. Pilots the same way. Like people just think, oh, I have to go to school and then be an engineer and then go be a pilot. No, you can go and apply for pilot school, do all your hours of training, get your license, and then become a pilot and make awesome money. So there's a lot of different avenues and ways to do it without, like you saying, going to get in debt. Now, granted, we are a private school. We do offer financial aid. One thing I do like about my setup, our setup, is once you get enrolled and you have those classes you have to take for your core class, like as what we call them, prereqs and your general ed classes, if you go to a
Yes.
traditional school. Like we offer, if you're going for your bachelor's and above, those your prerequisites and your general ed classes are free. You don't pay for those at our school.
Okay.
So we have a what's it called? So we have a subsidiary of us called Sophia. And Sophia is where you can go. You can take those classes. They're on your own pace. I think you have up to 60 days though to complete it. But you can take all of those general ed classes for free. You don't pay for them at all. Like it
Okay,
doesn't. It's
that's
no
awesome.
tuition. You only pay for your core classes. So that's another thing that kind of like gets our students kind of like, oh, I can go take that for free. And yeah, like you don't have to pay for that. Like take as many as you can for free because financial aid is a limited thing when it comes to the loans and stuff like that. So if you have a EFC, and I know people don't know what that means, but when you do your financial aid, your expected family contribution, which how much based off of what you put on your financial aid, how much can you contribute out of your own pocket? The lower that number is, that means the more free money you get. So especially if you have a high EFC where you're like they're telling you, oh, you can pay out of pocket $20,000 of your own money, you're not going to get a lot of money. So taking those classes for free is a big help because you really need to focus on the classes you need to take with your financial aid because you're not going to get a lot. Another thing I like with us, every 3 classes you take, you earn a class. So toward the end, you get to use it's called a grad fund. So every 3 classes you take and successfully pass, you earn a class. So with a bachelor's degree, I think you can get up to 9 or 10 classes for free, but you can't use it to the end. So your last 10 classes are free. So now I just took all of my general ed classes for free. I didn't pay for this little middle chunk, and my last 10 classes are free because I've successfully taken these classes through my whole matriculation. So that's another thing when you're going to look at these different types of institutions. What is it going to benefit and offer me to? So that's another thing I do like about where I work now. Also, I started. So what I didn't know about was the insurance business. Like all I knew was selling insurance. But I got into insurance adjusting, those who do the claims. So if a hurricane comes or damage is done to your house or property and you have an insurance policy, you may turn in your claim to the insurance company, but they use insurance adjusters to actually do all of that stuff to see how much money you will get and what's going to get fixed. And what I didn't know about that is only depending on where you go, because you can get it online, but if you just want like a legitimate certification and like really go into in depth with it, there's a school that I found. It's only 10 days, 10-day class, and you can be a certified insurance adjuster. Now it's a very intense class, so it's not just I'm going 10 days. It's very intense. There's a lot to learn. You have to pay for that out of pocket. There's no financial support. There's no this. Now it's only just under $3,000.
Okay.
So if it's someone who's working and can save that up over time and then get into it, that's fine. Or if you just so happen to have it, because I know some people, I mean, $3,000 is not a lot when it comes to like school, but it's a lot.
So you
In
would have an
general.
insurance adjusting license when you get finished, and
Mm-hmm.
insurance companies can contract with you, or do you work for an insurance company?
So you will be an independent adjuster. You'll be an independent contractor. So insurance companies would hire you to do those, and that's what they do anyway. They hire adjusters to do it for them. They don't really.
What's the earning
Insurance
power
companies
of
don't
an
do
What's the earning power of an adjuster?
it. Let me tell you something. If I had known about this when I was 18, I would be like done right now. So, so we have 2 different types. You have a desk adjuster and you have a field adjuster. Desk adjusters are just what it is. I sit behind a desk at a computer all day. I'm adjusting claims all day. Boom, 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 boom. Then I have field adjusters. Those are the ones you see. They actually go out to the sites of the damage and do their reports, do their markings. If it's a hurricane, whether it's something, you get on top of the roofs, things of that nature. So on average, a desk adjuster makes 104 grand a year for going to class for 2 weeks and paying $3,000. So am I getting my money back for the money I spent on my tuition?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You can actually get that back in 9 days. Depending on work. And now is a heavy season for it because it's hurricane season.
Right. So what about a
So
field adjuster?
field adjusters, they start 200 and something thousand a year.
Okay. Okay.
Now, people are looking at it like, whoa, yeah, let me jump on it. Now, there's pros and cons to both. So by you being an independent contractor, everything is on you. So when I say that field adjuster, you're responsible for your own equipment, like your ladders, your trucks, things of that nature. When you go out, you're responsible for all of those things. It's not like the company pays for you to go here and there. But you're making so much money, you get paid every week. Um, that it kind of like offsets. So like there's some initial costs you're gonna have to do right up front. That's high. And then there's just some every month you just have to deal with. Like once you get your equipment tonight, you don't have to buy that every month, every week. It's you got it, you got it. So they'll be like in your initial setup cost. But other than that, like when you go to a site, you know, you might be there for 3 days. Well, you're responsible for your lodging for 3 days. So if I'm going to a hurricane site, I might have to stay an hour out because everything's damaged, but I might have to, you know, pay for that or whatever. But like I say, it is average 200 and what 16,000 I think a year for that,
Okay.
and you're getting paid every
And
week. You're
what kind of schools offer the certifications?
So, from what I was told, I went through a school, which is a reputable school out of Missouri. You can actually go online and actually get the certification without going through that. But
Do you mind giving
it's
some names of some of the schools?
so MOCAT is a name that I've researched and looked up. That's actually who I went through because I'm actually in the process of getting mine now
Oh,
as we speak.
congratulations. So
So,
MOCAT, what's that?
um,
Missouri what?
that's in Missouri. That's the school. That's the insurance adjustment school in Missouri. It's called MOCAT Insurance School, and it's out of Missouri. Springfield. I think it's Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
So you
MOCAT or
M O C
MOKAT?
MOCAT
Okay.
MOCAT. So you can go there for 10 days, and get your training and your license at the end of that. And what I did like about it, because I couldn't afford 10 days in a hotel in Missouri, they have an online option, which they don't tell you up front. I don't know why, but they have an online option, so it's more on your pace. And then you just have to pay for your license at the end. But it's one of those where you get that if you get finished through them, you're you're wanted in the insurance adjuster field. They say you went to MOCAT. Oh yeah, we want them. Hire them. Let's go. We need them. I know for they have a class. They still have a class every month except for December is when they offer in-person classes at least. And like I said, hurricane season is probably like the best to get in, but most of those you can really work 6 months out the year,
And
and that's
what is
it.
this certification called?
Insurance claim adjusting. You're getting a certification in insurance claims. So learning how to adjust claims, reading policies, figuring out what this person has under the insurance, what's covered, what's not covered. And if you're like me, when I get insurance, I see it and I'm kind of like, okay, I don't really look at it. And then the way it's worded, you never know what all these sub things are off of the insurance. So a lot of people sometimes they get mad when they don't get what they think they're going to get with insurance. And now that I've going through the training and past that part of reading an actual policy and knowing what it says, it's very difficult for an average person to really understand the insurance policy. Because in one line it'll say you're covered for this, in the very next line you're not. And it's all about interpreting and making sure you know exactly what it is, depending on what section that is under. So it's not an easy thing for people to have a policy, whether it's car insurance, health insurance, whatever. It's not a really easy thing to look at. Oh yeah, because you'll look at it and say, "Oh yeah, I'm covered for this," and then turn around and come through somebody like me, and it's like, "Yeah, well, you're really not." Because if you go to this next line, then it's like, who would have thought about that? So, it's just really understanding the policy and knowing what you have and don't have. But it's great money.
Good. Well, Mr. Richardson,
Great.
thank you so much for sharing this because we were talking about pivoting, and I had no idea that you're looking at two pivots right back to back, that you're coming out of education into higher education, and now
Mm-hmm.
you're also looking at insurance adjustment because that's just the phase that we are in now.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are in the world, and I think it's just a great thing. And thank you so much for sharing what you're currently experience with the insurance claim adjusting information, because that's going to help a lot of people. And thank you for sharing how to and what it's going to look like to make it happen. So
Oh
this has been
yes.
perfect. I want to thank you so much for joining on us on It's the Hard Work, People, Passion, and Purpose podcast. We're definitely going to do a follow up with you because now
Okay.
we want to know what's going to happen once you get the certification and
Yes,
how
and
is that
that's
working.
and it works. This suggestion that works for the people who may have got sent home from work during COVID or lost their job during COVID, but don't necessarily want to go back into like offices and work. It's the perfect work from home job. Like it's the
Absolutely.
perfect work from home job.
Absolutely. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Ross.
Absolutely. And we're going to do several follow-ups. Can I get you to
Okay.
agree on air?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for joining us on It's the Hard Work, People, Passion, and Purpose podcast. Remember to enjoy the journey because someone wishes they were in your shoes.